It is TO Sports Talk, episode 9, and hey, we got a lot of things to talk about today. We're going to start off with the Leafs, where, I mean, my goodness, forcing Game 7 against the Bruins, going to be fun.
Unbelievable. And the Raptors, not splitting the series in Washington, going down at 0-2 on the road against the Wizards, so it's a 2-2 tie series going back to Toronto. Can they take care of business? And
for the Blue Jays, they obviously lost the last 2 games against the Yankees, but still 13-8 on the season. We'll be breaking them down lastly. And before we start talking about all the sports things that are going on, because it's nuts.
James already mentioned this on his previous video with the Bruins Game 6. Horrible tragedy that happened in Toronto. A van collided into, what is it? The death toll is... It's up to 10. Yeah, it's up to
10 people dead, 15 more injured.
No motive behind what he's done. It's a terrible, terrible tragedy. So, the GoFundMe account link would be in the description.
There's a GoFundMe?
Yes, there's a GoFundMe account. And
sweet.
Yeah, so horrible tragedy. Humble Broncos obviously happened a couple weeks ago. Now this... Use that hashtag Toronto Strong. We really do appreciate, guys.
Well, we put that in the description below, guys. Keep that trending. Keep it going.
For sure.
Because I know all of us in Toronto, I mean, I know it hits us hard.
You said that your mom works around there, and my mom works at Yonge and Davisville, so that's not too far from there. No, it's crazy. So that could have been anybody. It could,
and that's why, especially in our city, right? And we take pride of that. The Humboldt stuff, it was awful. We can't relate to that city.
Actually, it's kind of, it's not funny, but it's kind of like a little bit of a thing going on with the whole Boston Strong thing. 5 years ago, the Boston bombings happened during the playoffs.
Right, and then the marathon. Right.
Kind of a coincidence. I don't think much of it.
It's not to the extent of that, but what it is, because the Boston bombing was insane.
What it is, it's 10 people dead, it's many more injured, and it's a lot of hearts broken. So, guys, the GoFundMe account link is going to be in the actual description.
All of us here at TO Sports Talk, we send all our condolences to everybody affected. And also, something I didn't mention in the video yesterday, because new things came up today and everything. Congrats and way to go to the one officer that wasn't an idiot and didn't just pump the guy with bullets, talked him down, did his thing, and was smart about it, and got him arrested.
Well, I don't know if you saw this.
The video.
But Kyle Lowry said, if this happened in America, the guy would have been shot.
But is there any doubt? No.
To be completely honest with you, I really don't want to, you know what?
We're not going to get into that.
I'm not even going to get into that. We're starting with the Leafs. The Leafs.
You have to. I mean, after last night's game, you have to.
And after the abysmal performance with the Raptors, which we will talk about later. The Leafs coming back from 3-1 and tying the series and forcing a Game 7 in TD Gardens on Wednesday.
Is this deja vu?
Oh, yes.
5 years ago, around this time, obviously, Leafs down 3-1 to the Bruins. We're thinking, it's over. Well, we're surprised the Leafs won at least one game back in the day. This series, we expected the Leafs to play a lot better. They were not so great in the first 4, and they take that one game in Boston, come home, take their game at home. Exactly what happened back in 2013, and we're in the same place 5 years later.
The Leafs played unbelievable. Game 5 was a bit iffy. We got outshot like heck. We still won the game. I understand.
I think the key to that game was getting on the board early. The Leafs had the 2-0 lead there early on, and up until last night, every team that scored the first goal has won the game.
They won the game. And
yesterday changed.
The real problem, I think, with this team is the breakout passes. We're not getting anything through.
Well, no, because they're trying for the long breakout pass.
And that's what Jake Gardner does, and it doesn't work because we ice the puck, and then it's back in our end, and we can't win the face-off.
Same with Roman Polak. He's not the greatest at that either.
If there was a stat, I don't know if there is a stat about what player ices the puck on most teams, I think that'd be Roman Polak.
Because, I don't know.
Because Roman Polak cannot break out the pass.
No. With Roman Polak, all he reminds me of...
Dermott can, right?
Right. He's an amazing first pass.
So then the Bruins players are going to focus on Dermott, so then who does Polak have the pass to? Because he usually passes it to Dermott.
Well, he can skate then if he's got all the... I mean, I don't know. Again, the Leafs, they've done it in the last 2 games.
Right.
And credits to Freddie Anderson. That guy has stood on his head in both games.
There was 2 shots. It was the Marchand shot where he did an unbelievable glove save.
And a stick out of midair. The one that was going behind him, he knocked it.
Way too much room. 3 seconds.
With that one.
3 seconds where it was a slapper.
And he was walking into it. It's not like he was just,
and that's a Zdeno Chara slap shot, ladies and gentlemen. So
it's a snapper, but you know what I mean.
It wasn't that good of a shot.
It wasn't a hardest shot contest type of shot. But it still is a Zdeno Chara snapshot from about the circle, which is not where you want it.
100 miles per hour.
And he fought it off. Attaboy, Freddie. And also in the first period, the shot, it was in tight. and it was going to go in behind him, but he leans back and smacks with his stick out of the net. That was a crazy save.
Unbelievable performance. And Freddie Andersen is that type of goalie where you have, if the more pressure, the better, I think, like that. Which I don't know if it's a good thing, but he kind of reminds me of a Jonathan Bernier. Because Jonathan, I'm not necessarily comparing it to him.
I see what you're getting at, but just the way you said it, you comparing it to Jonathan Bernier. But the funny thing with Freddie Andersen is in the first few games he didn't look right, and obviously in the last two games
the whole team didn't look right.
Right. And even in the last couple of games, the team hasn't looked the greatest. They've done enough to win, and they've got great goaltending. The funny thing is with Freddie, and we've seen it all year long, when he gets peppered with shots, he seems to do well. You look at game 4 at the ACC. They had what? They didn't even hit 30 shots, but they scored what? 4 goals on him? Or no, I think it was a 3-1 game, but still.
I still think even if we do get past the Bruins on Wednesday, this team's defense is not good enough to potentially go to a Stanley Cup run, in my opinion.
You got to take it one game at a time, one series at a time, obviously.
I know, but I'm just saying that completely. Ron Hainsey played absolutely phenomenal.
He's playing a lot of
I noticed him and Zaitsev. Ron Hainsey looks like he's squeaking out there. The guy needs some oil. He's looked overworked.
But he's still pumping on the PK though. I'm loving
Zaitsev, it. If he can find
the last couple games
Nikita Zaitsev from last year a little bit, then but the last 2 games he's looked, especially the one on Game 6. He looked good.
Yeah, he looked really good last night.
Breaking up passes.
And the crazy stat yesterday, and I don't know the exact final numbers of it, but I know at least in the second period,
I can look this
Patrice Bergeron, his
God.
face-offs. At one point in the second period, he lost 1 draw and won 14.
Yeah. And he had it matched up with Helmut Plekanec, which arguably is our best face-off guy. Arguably.
Yeah, you could say it's Bozak, you could whatever.
But I think it's Plekanec. Plekanec looked lost out there. And
he looked lost on the draws, yes.
But
the way he was defending that line...
No, I know.
And Plekanec ain't afraid to throw a body around.
No, he's not.
And
he still has
a big block of the shot in the late power play of the game. He was terrific. Obviously, the empty netter, and I know Bruins fans, Marlowe knocked down Backus. Where's the interference penalty? Well, look. First off, it's the playoffs.
Okay, go on.
Second of all, 6 penalties in the last game for the Leafs, and at least 2 or 3 of them were very soft, should have been non-call.
And what happened when Backus elbowed Anderson? Pollock went after him.
I didn't even mention that in the video last night.
Pollock went after him, okay. And then Pollock...
They got offsetting minors.
And then Jake Gardner was somehow in the... Wasn't Jake Gardner's...
I don't know if he went in or not.
You're not too sure? I think so.
All I know is that this league has gotten so soft that you are not allowed to protect your goalie anymore.
Because they called the penalty right when it happened.
Right. The arm went up initially for the elbow to Freddie's face, which could have been elbowing, interference, whatever. And he goes back. So Pollock's like, you just elbowed my buddy in the face. I'm going to go after you. Which he should, and if he doesn't go after him, everyone's going to complain that he's a pussy and he shouldn't be, and he's not going after him.
And it wasn't intentional, I don't think, because David Backus and JVR, was it JVR, I think? I don't know, but
Pollock, actually.
Pollock in front of them, they were battling hard in front of Freddie Anderson, and it looked bad.
But he did elbow him. It is a penalty. And he did knock the goalie on his rear end.
But technically, it is a penalty for Pollock because he did, quote unquote, jump him.
Right, but Backus fought back as well.
I know.
So it's not like I'm shocked. I am shocked there was a 4-on-4 out of that.
Because it's not like they didn't even call the penalty when it happened. They did. They did call it
when it happened. If they didn't call it and Pollock just jumped him, fine.
Yeah,
okay.
But they called it. So that's what stings a little bit.
But you know what? It didn't kill the Leafs.
No, and we're going to a Game 7.
Game 7 against Boston.
In TD Garden.
Every time I hear Game 7 against the Bruins, we all know what
I'm happy we're doing this podcast before the actual game, because nuts. It's crazy. And Boston just looks so... Their defensive play is just unbelievable sometimes.
Yeah.
I think it was in the first and second period, it literally looked like they were on a power play for the entire game.
Yeah.
The third period, we had it. The third period was all Toronto.
The shot, it was very well sustained by the Leafs. The shots were only 8-7 in the third period in favor of the Leafs. That tells you right there.
What we need to do, the one key thing we have to do...
I know what you're going to say. Go ahead.
...is about... try to confine Boston's first line. Yeah, Boston's first line, they were nowhere to be found.
In their 3 losses, they have no points, and they're all a -16.
But they're still there. Bergeron could have scored that first goal. It kind of took a weird bounce off Freddie Anderson, right? But that is an unbelievable line. So, and Roman Polak, good on him for taking the body to David Pastrnak.
Yeah. You know what? The thing about Polak, guys, and as much as he's not a great skater, and his outlet pass out of the zone is atrocious, and all that kind of stuff, he's a very physical guy. He's a team-first guy. And
he sticks up, like you said, he's a team first guy, and he sticks up, and he knows that if we don't have the matchup, let's just say that we still got our second line on or our third line on, and then Boston just jumps their first line on, they can hold their, Boston's first line, hold their own, and then be physical.
Yep.
Because you obviously don't have the skill against Boston's first line with your second line, so be physical against them.
I just really liked the play of this team last night. They fought hard, as much as there were times where they were hemmed in their zone and Freddie had to make some spectacular saves. But okay, I get that. But just because Freddie has to make some spectacular saves doesn't mean the Leafs were garbage. And I'm not saying you said they were. I'm just saying Leaf fans in general, Freddie's the reason they kept him in the game. Well, isn't that how you win games in the NHL, by having a good goaltender? I understand that to the extent you shouldn't have to.
And what happened to Mitch Marner's unbelievable backhand.
Oh, that was nasty.
And Nylander finally finding his...
He looked great last night.
Well, that was I think this is the only game he's looked good in the last 5 games.
I'll take it. If he can continue that going into Game 7, that's your fourth line.
Because right now, when it comes to Game 7, guys, I'm going to tell you this right now, Boston is going to throw out everything they have. We're not the desperate team out there.
No.
We are playing on the road,
but
we are not... But we're not the... No, but Boston's going to be more desperate than us. I know it for a fact. It doesn't matter if we're on the road. They don't have any momentum going into their barn. Nothing.
For some reason, though, I feel like they're very tentative right now, the Bruins are. Because you look at the... I was watching some of the interviews with some of the Boston players, and they're not happy. But there's a fine line between being not happy and fired up and ready to go. And I think they're a little
this was after the game, so obviously they're going to be...
Well, this was this morning.
Oh, this was the morning.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. They're going to come out firing, yes, but does it backfire?
Because I think that the Leafs forwards are finally finding their own. Everybody. All the forwards. Connor Brown has looked amazing. Zach Hyman's looked great.
Freddie Anderson's got the confidence.
Freddie Anderson, yeah. I don't know what forward. I mean, you could argue Matthews, and I do agree. But I'm happy.
Sorry, go ahead.
And I'm happy that Mike Babcock. This was after Game 5 that a horrendous, well, not horrendous loss, but the loss at home.
Game 4, you mean?
4, thank you, sir. Yeah, Game 4. Called out Matthews, Marner, and Nylander.
And he moved Nylander down to the fourth line.
Good on him.
And good call.
And there were some Leaf fans saying,
I love that. Honestly, as much as Nylander and Matthews, like the duo, it's amazing, all that kind of stuff, I love that first line with Matthews, Hyman, and Connor Brown. And it's a gritty line with some great offense. Too. And it's a defensive line.
Because Connor Brown's extremely good defensively. Zach Hyman,
we all know what he can do.
Yeah,
I mean, he's a grinder.
The only player I could say a little bit would be Matthews. Yes, he's doing his own. Yes, he's still, good defensively. He's extremely good in his own end. But we haven't seen the 10%. We haven't seen it all from Matthews.
Right.
I feel like he's just bound to break out.
A few things I want to talk about. Just a couple things real quick. Number one, obviously we said earlier on about the first goal of the game being huge. Because that right there will put the Bruins on their heels, and it'll take the energy right out of TD Garden. And this has nothing to do with the game on tomorrow night, but something before this Game 6, I'm assuming you saw it, the Ron Hainsey interview.
I was working, but
okay. The Ron Hainsey interview before the game about the whole Toronto,
attack
thing.
The guy's been here for not even a whole year
yet.
He's still playing, too, and he's American. That just proves. And I think that
it looked like he was getting emotional too. That's just. I mean,
and he said we're going to play our hearts out
and hopefully push this to 7 in Boston.
And honestly, I think he should have been. If there was a fourth star, Ron Hainsey would definitely get it, in my opinion. He looked great out there. He looked absolutely amazing.
I think for this team, and something I've noticed at least in the last few games that we didn't see earlier on, they're not afraid to get in the corners now.
Well, they never were.
They looked very tentative before.
Well,
they're going to let their guy go first and maybe go for a little check on them, or get in there and quickly poke it away so they don't get hit. No. In the last 2 games, they're getting in there, whether it's Chara coming at them or somebody smaller.
Well, I saw Janssen try to get in Chara. Like, good for him. I mean, you don't have much of a shot when it comes there.
No, but just be in his zone. Be in his area. With Chara, you just got to try and use your speed.
Especially with a 5'10" Andreas Janssen.
With his ridiculously long stick, it's going to get in the way. You know that. But if you can beat him...
I mean, you'll probably lose 9 times out of 10 to Chara, but try. Try and see if you can get the puck in those gritty situations. And I agree with you. That's what... Well, Zach Hyman was probably maybe Connor Brown was doing that for the whole entire playoffs, but the whole team wasn't.
This team's got to not be afraid to get in the corners tomorrow. and
I would like
they got to get their legs going. They right out of the gate.
And they got to get out of their end a little bit more. Actually, a lot more. They were in our end way too much.
Well, you look at the first period yesterday, and they were all over. 17-10 in shots was the opening frame, and we just didn't really look good.
Second period, pretty much the same thing.
Second period, you went down 1-0 a minute in, and Leaf fans, obviously, first goal of the game, were like, no, this is not going to be happening.
Because we know.
35 seconds later, William Nylander answers that, and the energy's right back in the building. The Leafs got the momentum right back.
And then the Zach Hyman called back goal, which we do both agree on that. Yeah. So
it's whatever. The Leafs win anyway, so it doesn't matter to me now.
Exactly. And then just going up,
the Leafs when they were on the forecheck, they really pushed hard.
Yeah.
They had a lot of zone time. When they were in the zone, they had a lot of zone time. It wasn't just like a one-and-done offense. They had sustained pressure when they were in the zone.
But what we need to do now, and it's easier said than done, is control Bergeron on the face-offs.
It's easier, like you said, easier said than done. My goodness.
I'm very, very scared what Boston's going to pull up their sleeves, because they're going to come out absolutely full, they have nothing to lose. Boston literally has nothing to lose when it comes to them going out desperate, and they've been there, done that before, right? So all we can hope for is a W.
Now, as much as
just don't ice the puck, because that hurts so much.
It has in the last 2 games. Luckily, the Leafs haven't gotten burned for it, but
because of Anderson
on the road, you might, because they have that last change. They have all that.
Oh yeah, so that's huge. Icing's huge. So tell Roman Polak that.
Make and something that you mentioned earlier about Travis Dermott being great at the first pass. I think for a good team, that is one of the biggest plays that does not get noticed.
Oh, for
the first pass out of your zone.
Because that just breaks you out.
And you get momentum. If you can't do that, it spins around and comes right back at you.
Well, no, not even that. Let's just say that you don't make a breakout pass and you make maybe a little small pass. It could be offside.
For example,
somebody could go offside.
For example, the Mitch Marner goal. Yeah. Now, Patrice Bergeron behind his own net, I don't know really what he's thinking. No. He just rifles it around the boards, and Hainsey's right there at the point, picks it up, and then how the Mitch Marner goal got set up.
Right.
It was just a nonchalant, I'm just going to blast it around the boards and see what happens. There's no Bruin on the point, just Hainsey ready for the puck. Instead of just lifting it out of the zone and not letting it go for icing, obviously, he does that play. So they do it too. It's just how the teams,
kind of reminds me of Zach Hyman, because when Zach Hyman enters, I think, I don't know, maybe like a 1-on-2, he usually does these spin passes where he does a no-look pass and nobody's there. Bergeron kind of did that when it comes to going behind the boards. That's what it kind of reminded me of, but
no-look passes are very high risk. And especially in the playoffs in a tight game.
They usually don't work.
Yeah.
Right? So,
and I think the big thing for the Leafs, no 2-on-1s.
No, but when there was a 2-on-1, Zaitsev finally learned how to take the pass and not do...
We didn't talk about... Well, obviously we were in the podcast when we...
I don't know
in
what...
Game 4.
Oh, I don't know what that was.
I don't know what he was doing. I mean, as a defenseman...
He wasn't taught that.
As you know my quote, as you learn in Pee Wee hockey, that... Okay, relax. If it's a 2-on-1, as a defenseman, you take the pass. The goalie's taking the shot.
Yeah.
Right. The goalie, you take the shot, and if Nikita Zaitsev has the opportunity to kind of slide close, it's weird. Usually you see guys lie down, right, to break up that pass, and if they want to try and make a ridiculous saucer pass,
that usually doesn't work, but sometimes it does.
Right, but you take that risk.
Yeah.
You let them take the shot. Freddie's got the shot, but instead, go ahead. You can.
But what Zaitsev did, he wasn't taught that. He panicked. Nikita Zaitsev panicked.
Absolutely, you could clearly see that. He looked lost out there because instead of lying down and taking the pass, he decides, I'm going to just skate right at Bergeron
and then try to swing
to swing his stick. He didn't look right.
No, I don't know what that was.
That was an awful play, and it was a tap in for Marchand to give them the 2-1 lead in Game 4.
Yeah. But he's looked good, and if he can somehow regain his confidence from the 2016-2017,
he might have gained it over the last couple games. He's looked very, very good.
He has, especially in his own end, breaking up passes behind the net. That, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but what's your prediction on the score?
Oh, honestly, man, usually I do have predictions.
Yeah, you know what?
I have no idea.
I'm with you on this.
I have no idea.
Me and you both said Leafs in 7, so I think we're going to leave it at that. Sorry.
Yeah, well, it was funny, actually. We both did say Leafs in 7, and after the 3-1 deficit, we're thinking, well, forget that. But the Leafs didn't give up.
It's anyone's game, right?
That's why, as a sports athlete, you got to take it one game at a time. You can't think of being down 3-1.
Exactly.
And I think the big turning point for this team, in this series so far at least, was getting out to that early lead in Game 5. You give up that first goal in Boston in Game 5, you're done.
The fans are going to be absolutely
And the Leafs, they have no confidence already, and they just give up the first goal again, and it's down the drain.
Jake DeBrusk scored that first goal, I was like, no way.
Right, and I think the big answer from William Nylander just kind of scratched that away. It didn't really affect anything.
Like Matthews, we have not seen. This is William Nylander we're talking about right here.
And Matthews. Him and Matthews have not been playing their greatest. No. And look at what this team's been doing.
Exactly.
That's the difference between the Leafs and the Bruins so far in the series.
Yeah.
Without their top line scoring, they've done nothing.
No.
The Leafs haven't had Nylander and Matthews do anything, and they've clearly won 30 games.
Rick Nash has looked not... He
hasn't been anywhere, really.
No,
he had
Krejci as well. I haven't seen him.
I keep forgetting that he's on the ice.
Exactly. And it's mainly their first line, and even their fourth line, too. Who's on there? Schaller. Is it Grzelcyk?
No, he's a defenseman. Acciari.
And there's somebody else. I don't know if Brian Giannis is playing, but Danton Heinen, I did not know this, but Danton Heinen was scratched. I don't know who he was scratched for, but he didn't play in Game 6.
I'll go look that up. I'm not too sure exactly.
Danton Heinen almost had 50 points this year.
He didn't have a point in the series yet.
No.
Going into that game. So that's why they wanted to try and shake things up a little bit. I'm just trying to look here to see if there's any names that pop out to me as somebody that I don't usually see. Tommy Winkles, I think, came into the lineup. I don't think he played in Game 5.
He's back.
I'm going to look that up here. Yeah, he didn't play in 4 days. So he missed Game 5. And then he played in Game 6 for Danton Heinen.
Yeah, Danton Heinen was scratched. So that just says it right there. So Boston's obviously doing what we kind of did in Game 5.
Right.
Changing up the lines a little bit. And good on them. It didn't work, but I can see what they're doing. But bottom line is, guys, take one game at a time, and who is psyched for this game? And
I know you and I are going to be together, and who knows, man. If it gets down to the nitty-gritty, I might film this and put it on the channel or put it on the Twitter or something because we'll be together, and it'll be a fun time, man. It's going to be an emotional time. I wish
it was on a Saturday night.
Oh, yeah. We'd be down at the Square if that was the case. We would be definitely down at the Square for that if that was the case.
Kind of weird about the whole Square thing because Raptors are obviously playing tomorrow.
Right, tomorrow night as well, and so are the Leafs, and so is Toronto FC. So I think all three are going to try and... CONCACAF Championship, they're in the finals, leg 2. They need a desperate outing, though, to get to the finals.
I don't know if they're going to be putting that on the screen, Toronto FC.
I think that's what I heard. That's what I heard they're going to try and put it on there.
Three-way? Well,
I don't know how they're going to do it, but...
That's off to them if they can do it. I feel like they should maybe order another screen up there.
just plop one up there for the game.
But do you want to quickly go into
we can go around the NHL a little bit. And the other game that was on yesterday, Washington-Columbus. And the crazy thing about that, like we talked about, that was our dark horse team going into the playoffs.
I said Washington in 6, and you said in 7, but...
Hey, we'll take it anyways. And the funny thing was about that series, Washington went down 2-0 at home.
I know.
And they won both games on the road. They came home, took care of business, and then won 6-3 yesterday in Columbus to basically sweep them away.
This is the third time in a row this has happened in the second round. Washington and Pittsburgh.
As Leaf fans back in the day,
I know you kind of like Washington a little bit.
I'm an Ovechkin fan. Okay, I love the way he plays. He plays hard. He's an energy guy. He's great. And he deserves a cup.
Wouldn't you love to see him? Not even that.
Well, okay, maybe
get past
if the Leafs are still in it, then, sorry, Ovi.
I want him to win a cup, but just get past the hump first.
But Pittsburgh still scares me, no matter what their record was in the regular season, no matter how unhealthy they are,
no matter how crap Philly goaltending was.
Well, that series was a joke. That whole series was a mess.
Blow it one time, and then
both teams got... I think every single game was a blowout.
4 goals in the Game 6.
But I think all games in that series were blowouts.
And Philly's actually they were looking at Michael not Michael Norver. Grubauer, actually.
Oh my God! So look, Washington's been great. He's been great for Washington. And look at the first 2 playoff games. He lost both. Hope he comes in, wins all 4.
Kind of same thing with Kincaid, right?
Exactly. Obviously he didn't win 4 straight.
So speaking of Kincaid, I said New Jersey in 6. Obviously, that did not happen. They were my upset of the first round. That did not happen.
Losing 4-1 to
Tampa Bay wins, and it doesn't surprise me at all.
I think we all expected that.
But I just wanted to see New Jersey get far because New Jersey, you know what? They deserve playoff hockey, so I kind of wanted to.
And with New Jersey, you know what? They're like the Leafs of last year.
I would like them maybe to pull up Game 6, but they only won 1, which is fine. Give them experience, and it's whatever. They're a young team.
Good for them to get into the playoffs. They have a really good young-looking team, and they got a great-looking future. We'll flip to the West real quick because really, I mean, these are not much to talk about here. Winnipeg and Minnesota, I mean, there was no question about that game.
No.
When
you said in the last podcast, it's over. It was over when Zach Parise went down with the injury.
It was over when Ryan Suter didn't suit up for Game 1 and didn't suit up the entire season. That was you lost your captain. It's done. It's over.
He's the captain?
He was well. At least I think he's the captain.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think
Eric Stahl,
is.
but I don't know if you saw this, but Josh Morrissey only got a game for
cross-checking him in the face,
in the head.
Well,
head, face, yeah, but it looked vicious. So
I'm shocked that he only. I guess because he's a non-repeat offender.
Well, no, the only reason why he got a suspension is because he didn't get even penalized on the play.
I don't know how you don't on that. I really don't.
No, I don't either.
But then when Zach Parise went down, I think everyone's like, okay, this game's over. Yeah. And you know what? Winnipeg fans are happy. I get it. You won a playoff series. You're great.
But going into Nashville, on their defensive front, they are injured to heck. You got Enstrom's injured, Kulikov's injured.
But they went through Minnesota with ease.
Actually, Myers is back. Okay,
yeah, he did play in game 5.
That was more of a serious injury, but they're going to have their hands full, and this is going to be the series, I think, of the whole entire playoffs.
Something I want to talk about after we're done talking about the series is kind of a hilarious topic. Me and you briefly talked about it yesterday. So Vegas sweeps away the Los Angeles Kings. I don't think we talked about that in the last video. No, honestly, we picked LA to win that series.
And then we picked Anaheim against the Sharks to win in 7.
I think Vegas is...
I think they're going to run right through...
San Jose. Even though they swept Anaheim, Vegas is a storybook team this year.
Well, I'm a little surprised about the Sharks, to be completely honest with you. Yes, they have Evander Kane. Yes, they have Brent Burns. Yes, they have Pavelski. Yes, they have Couture. But they're just, I don't know, they're above average. Vegas? Oh my God, they are.
It's their chemistry. And I don't think you watch soccer, but remember back in the day, Leicester City. No one knows who they are, and they come in and they win the Premier League, and everyone's like, what just happened there? Because they had the great chemistry. Reminds me of Vegas. They don't have the great all-star. I mean, obviously Carlson's been crazy.
So predictions quickly, because we're running out of time a little bit here. Okay, Vegas versus the Sharks, San Jose. Who do you got in how many games?
I say Vegas in 6.
Okay, I'm gonna say Vegas is gonna sweep.
Usually, do you think they're going to go 8-0 so far in the playoffs?
I think so.
I think San Jose is going to take at least one at home.
I can't see San Jose. Yes, they swept the Ducks, which is unbelievable, but I'm not sold on them at all. Vegas for sure.
I think they're going to win 2. Okay. I think Vegas is going to win in 6. I mean, I'm probably giving San Jose the benefit of the doubt, but they did sweep away a team, so they got to have something.
Now, the next one. It doesn't matter how many games, because me and you both know it's going to go to 7. Yeah. Who are you taking, James Price?
I think Nashville.
Me too.
Just because of their experience.
They've been there, done that.
Yeah, exactly. They've done that already.
2 unbelievable goaltending, but I still think that Pekka is better than Connor Hellebuck.
Credits to Colorado for winning a couple games against Nashville.
I had
them winning 1.
I had them not winning anything. So
they won 2. So
they lost 5-0 for us. But I don't know if you actually watched the end of that game. Yeah, but the fans were cheering. None of them left during.
I would too. As a Leaf fan, if I was an Avs fan, no, I would too. Yes, you lost 5-0.
We know some fan bases that won't do that. Yeah, we're not going to mention any.
But look, this team came dead last year, had one of the worst records in NHL.
And they beat out St. Louis. They beat out St. Louis for the final wild card spot. Good on them.
And they won 2 against Nashville.
With the Hamburglar in net.
Right.
Jonathan Bernier was injured.
Okay, well, thank God. I mean, clearly that worked for them.
Yeah, it did. He didn't look good at all.
And so now we're going to go over to the Eastern Conference. Obviously, we don't know who's playing Tampa. Could be the Leafs, could be Boston. We don't know yet.
So you have Vegas versus Nashville in the Western Conference Finals. To make that clear.
I think so.
Okay, so in the East, we got Pittsburgh versus Washington.
I know.
I say this every single year, and they always disappoint me, but I really think this is the year for Washington. Well, Washington Capitals in 6 games. I'm going to say 6 games for Washington Capitals.
You think they're going to win the series in Pittsburgh?
Yep. I think they're going to get the monkey off their back because no one's talking about Washington.
I want to say Caps in 7. I think it's because then they'll come home for 7.
The Capitals as well.
I want to believe.
Me and you always say this every single year, and they always disappoint.
I want to believe in them.
Okay.
It's going to be tough, but I want to believe in them.
Okay, so Washington is going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, we already picked, we think Toronto's going to go past Boston.
We hope so,
Toronto versus Tampa Bay.
Very similar teams. They have a better defense core.
But very similar offense. And they don't play that suffocating style of play in as physical as Boston. Their goaltending's a bit iffy, too.
I don't know. I honestly, I have no
You know
clue.
what? Screw it. Leafs in 7, Leafs first Caps, a rematch of last year's quarterfinals.
Wouldn't that be something, eh?
Yeah.
That'd be nuts.
So
That'd be incredible. The last thing I want to talk about real quick before we move along to basketball. Well, look, it was a big topic today.
It was a very good topic.
Something I want to mention. I know.
This funny story you were talking. Yeah, okay.
I told you last night about this. Now, Montreal Canadian fans, they're all laughing at the Leafs after Game 4. Oh, they're just going to lose in 5 to the Bruins. First off,
the laughs.
First off, we've made the playoffs the last 2 years. You guys have not, even with a healthy Carey Price
We're going to
this
bring
year.
up the Stanley Cups.
Funny thing is, PK Subban gets traded for Shea Weber. Where's Shea Weber right now? Injured. Where's PK Subban? Heading to the second round. Where was he last year? Oh, right, in the Stanley Cup final.
Where was Shea Weber
Where's
last
Alexei Emelin? Oh, right, he's on Nashville in the second round.
Where's Sergachev? In the second round.
There you go. And Andrei Markov. Yeah, we have no idea where he went. He went to Russia, played in the KHL, and he won the cup.
I didn't know that until you told me.
Yeah,
I didn't even know.
I saw a picture of it. I saw a picture on Instagram about it, and it's hilarious. Montreal
Looks
fans
good on you, Bergevin.
every time. Oh yeah.
I love how we just rip up Montreal every single podcast, but
well, because as Leaf fans, that's our due diligence. Because they probably did it to us every time.
Down 3-1 against Boston. Oh, typical laughs hockey. The laughs are.
They're just gonna choke their great regular season. You're gonna lose in the playoffs. I'm sorry, it's 3-3 in Game 7. Bite me.
Yeah,
and we have a future.
And you don't. Well, you have cap room, which I will give you there, but with
Two cancer contracts. That's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah, but moseying on over to basketball.
And the Toronto Raptors, we go from a very, very positive Leaf topic
to a very negative Toronto Raptors topic. What is going on with the Toronto Raptors, James Price?
Their road playoff woes continue. In their last 18 road games, the Raptors are now 4-14.
Now, I got to quickly talk about something. When it comes to the Raptors, people are saying, oh, next game is the big one. Game 6, that's huge. No. Game 5.
Game 5,
Game 5, I'm sorry. Yeah. Game 5, it's huge. No. We know that the Toronto Raptors can win on home court.
I mean,
but
both have been tight.
Game 6 is going to be the game in this series where it make it or break it for the Raptors.
My opinion is that Game 5 is going to be big because the Raptors have no momentum.
No.
At all.
You saw with the Raptors, they can win on home court. But going back to to Game 6 to Washington, if you can't win 2 games, what makes
I do not want this to go to 7. Because the Raptors are a better team than what we've been seeing.
If it goes to 7, it doesn't matter if you're on your home court.
You never know. It's Game 7.
It doesn't. Yeah, exactly. So
what we've seen from the Raptors in the first 2 games is that everybody's contributing. They're more or less taking care of the basketball, and they're looking okay. But the last 2 games in Washington, they've combined for 36 turnovers. 18 each game.
And I think the Raptors start out extremely well. And they just can't finish it. The fourth quarter woes.
I talked about this in my first 2 videos about when the Raptors won. It's not the run you make; it's when you make that run. And the Raptors had a great first half against the Wizards in Game 4, but the second half was awful
because we're struggling against the 8th place team Wizards going into the playoffs.
They are still a good team. I'm not going to take anything away from the Wizards. When you have John Wall and Bradley Beal,
I understand that, but we're looked at as an Eastern Conference final, possibly NBA Finals team. Am I right? We've been talking about this.
Right.
You're struggling. Yep. You are struggling against a team that went 2-8 going into the playoffs. You're struggling against a team that realistically, because of the gap with them in Detroit, they shouldn't even be in the playoffs. To be completely honest with you, they shouldn't.
Yep.
Right? So I don't know what it is with this team. I really don't, because
the thing for me is, and you look at the first 2 games,
right.
Serge Ibaka and CJ Miles were both unbelievable. They had terrific first 2 games.
No, they did.
The last 2 games, they've been non-existent. They've been awful in the last 2 games.
And did Fred VanVleet play Game 4?
No, he hasn't played. He's doubtful for tomorrow.
So right now, this is what we talk about.
It's got to be more than the bruised shoulder. There's no way he's missed 4 games in the playoffs.
But right now, I think this is a do-or-die game. And I said Game 6 is bigger than Game 5, but Game 5 is still big. So
you got to push them to the brink. I don't care what you say. I don't care what is a desperate game.
And I think right now you have to put him out there. Even if he does have something still wrong with him, we're in desperate mode. We wanted to split. We wanted, and you wanted to split series going back 3-1.
We talked about it in the last podcast.
We wanted a 3-1 lead going back to Toronto. Yep. We're not going to say that we're going to sweep them because that's very difficult for a team to do.
And I know Drake said it, but he's just pumped because it's his team. I get that.
And he's unrealistic.
But now, I briefly talked about Serge Ibaka and CJ Miles being nowhere. You look at the first 2 games, 23 points, 12 rebounds for Ibaka. He was on fire in the first game. Right. Game 2, he only had 10 points, but he had 9 rebounds and 3 blocks. Okay. He was on fire.
Yeah.
And game 3 and 4 combined, 10 points. He was nowhere to be found. 3 points in game 3, 7 in game 4.
Okay, yeah,
but he only took 5 shots in game 5 or game 4. Sorry, but he was a minus 11 on the floor. Look at game 2; he was a plus 32.
It's not necessarily
it's the
DeRozan.
Inconsistency,
and it's not necessarily DeRozan.
In the last game, it was. In the last game, it was DeMar. He takes 29 shots. That's way too many, and not like he was shooting 50%. He did have 35?
Yeah, 35.
Well, that's great, but look how many...
10 for 29.
That's no good.
No, 10...
That's not good at all. I don't care.
Lou Williams. No, I know.
Take a ton of shots, and you're going to get a lot of points. He also got to the free throw line a ton.
Right.
And
but JV, why did they sit JV? JV only played 15 minutes.
He got in a little bit of foul trouble, but really, I mean...
when OG shot it, he was 2 for 3. So
OG did leave the game with an injury. I don't know what his status is for tomorrow. I think it's questionable, like Van Vliet. So here we go again, another injury down for the Raptors. And quickly before we keep going here, I talked about CJ Miles being ice cold. Game 1, 12 points. Game 2, 18, and they were great percentage shootings as well. 4 of 8 and 5 of 7 from the field. That's
Game
great.
4 stats.
Well, Game 3, he only had 9 points. Game 4, 2.
No, yeah, I know, and.
It's the inability to convert on the road, and it's not.
I don't know what it is. I don't think Washington's a necessarily hostile environment. Yes, you are facing a team that's in the playoffs. Any city's hostile, but you don't necessarily have take care of business. I've been saying this. I sound like a broken record when I say this. Take care of business against the team you should. How can we even think? How can we even think about facing the Cleveland Cavaliers or beating them you can't, or even the Indiana Pacers for that matter? They're tied right now. They're in a deadlock with the Cavs. How can you even think about beating them?
You got to focus on this
Eastern
team.
Conference Finals.
You got to focus on this team first.
Because this is what I'm scared of.
You look at this team, and by the way, there was a lot of talk since last game about the referees being real soft in that game.
The officiating.
Well, because we're used to seeing about 20 free throws a game for each team, right? Mm-hmm. We saw 31 for the Wizards and 30 for the Raptors in this game.
Yeah.
Now, every time somebody took a breath on somebody, it was a call for both teams. I'm not just being a biased Raptor fan.
So it was just in
general.
You're basically saying
it was in general. It was awful.
It wasn't fun. It was a whistle every 2 minutes, pretty much.
It's pretty much what it felt like.
Yeah.
And that's no good. And with the Raptors, we talk about ball movement. Ball movement, getting wide open looks. The Raptors, their magic number is 20 assists. They get that plus 20, they're always in a good spot to win. They only had 19 in the last game. They weren't moving the ball enough. And, of course, turnovers.
Anything less than an Eastern Conference Finals appearance is going to be a complete failure. Let alone in the first round against the Wizards.
Yeah.
No disrespect to the Wizards, like you said.
You got to do it. 59-win team? No doubt.
Right, and Marcin Gortat's playing unbelievable. It's and like you said, Ty Lawson. You didn't think that he was going to be a factor. I always still did. I mean,
he was pointless in the last game.
No, he was, but I don't know. I still feel like the actual just the energy that he brings to that Washington Wizards team is crazy. But what do you really say? This is this is a broken record when it comes to this team.
Well, look.
You could say mind games. You can say the mind games.
As much as Raptor fans are going to be, if the Raptors come away with the victory tomorrow, we'll be happy. We'll be happy with the win. We'll be like, good. I mean, if they lose, God forbid. We'll be all angry. If we win tomorrow...
Yes, well, you have to because it's a win. But I'm not totally sold on this team.
No, what I'm trying to get at here is that if the Raptors win tomorrow, great. We'll be happy. We'll be like, great. We did the job. We got the victory, whatever. But we won't be satisfied. The satisfying feeling would be going back to Washington and ending it on their home court.
Yes.
How did they beat us 4-0? They beat us twice to start the series on our home court.
Completely different team.
Now, yes.
Well, sort of the same core. We kind of got into that. I think Tupac asked. Excuse myself. Yeah. But yeah, like you said, we have to win it, and we will be happy because it's a win for the Raptors. They're up 3-2. Okay, yeah, but we're not satisfied as fans.
If we go to 7 and we win in 7, we'll be happy. We'll be like, this should never have gone to 7.
No, it shouldn't, and I don't.
The inconsistency. Being able to play on the road and at home, that's what you got to do. And this team Hasn't shown it. No. They've been great in the regular season on home court. They were great on the road. They had one of the best road records in the league on the road. That's great.
But I feel like it's
in the playoffs, exactly. It's the playoffs road record. The Raptors, I don't know what happens to them if the other fans really get under their skin. But that can't happen.
No, especially
if you're going to be an elite team, that can't happen.
Especially with a not necessarily small market team in Washington, but a medium-sized market. Like, the fans should not get to you. DeMar, Kyle, you've been here since 2014 against Brooklyn.
Yep.
It shouldn't bother you. Exactly. Yep. Maybe for the rookies, yeah, but we're not asking the rookies to step up. We're asking you two to step up.
We're not asking DeLon, Siakam, and Pirtle to fire up 15 each.
I mean,
first off, you're asking him to take care of the damn basketball. That's all I got to say.
He played good, actually. He played 24 minutes, 10.7 rebounds. Pirtle. Not a bad night.
No, he had an all right night. He had an all right night, but it was the rest of the team. Didn't really get anything going.
When it comes to this Raptor team, James Press, I'm going to ask you this question right now. What is it with this team? If you can give me one thing we have to work on, rather it be defensive rebound,
turnovers.
Yeah.
That's it. 18, unacceptable. And a lot of these are unforced. It's just dribbling up the court, go for a corner pass, up you overthrew them. I mean, it's those useless, no pressure turnovers.
It's like, what are you even doing?
Or if it's when DeMar dribbles, and then they double him and he fires it away. It's just those useless
turnovers. And Norman
turnovers.
Powell didn't look good in Game 3. He didn't play Game 4, but he hasn't looked good. It's I don't know. I'm speechless. I could see it coming. I know but all of us. But yeah, it's just
crazy.
I'm seeing
it's crazy. You know, I mean, the Raptors, they got to come out tomorrow and they got to. I wouldn't say it's a statement game because it's really not.
No,
but it's
not.
A game you gotta win.
Game 6 is a statement game. Yes, Game 5, you have to win it, but it's not a statement game. Game 6 on their home floor,
honestly,
winning it's a statement game.
It's a statement game if they win tomorrow. If they don't, okay, I'm done with statement games. They just got to flip and win. I don't care how they do it.
I know you're closest to saying the F-bomb there, but I'm glad.
Well, very close, because this team, if they lose tomorrow on their home court, and they trail the series going back to Washington, which they have looked awful, it's a joke.
So are you okay with Dwayne Casey giving players minutes that they should be or shouldn't be? Like are you okay with the coaching?
Ride the hot hand.
No, but I'm saying in the first 4 games, were you okay with the coaching? Because that could be an issue too.
I wasn't a huge fan of JV not touching the court at all in the fourth quarter against Washington in Game 4. I mean,
but the team trouble. But
they only had 3 fouls. No, in the fourth quarter, 3 fouls is nothing.
So a little bit with him.
They only had 18 points in the fourth quarter. When it mattered, they had nothing.
Yeah,
and it's I don't know. And it's the stupid. I don't know if this is Dwayne Casey or just DeMar DeRozan. The stupid ISO ball, dribble, try and get a guy to bait on your jump shot. If he doesn't, take a stupid shot, and that's that. It's no use. Move the ball, get a good look, drive, get a call, because clearly they're going to call it, or they were in the last game. Get the contact, maybe get an and one, fire the team up, or don't just take stupid jump shots, because it's not going to work.
No, it's not. And
get good looks. That's all I got to say, and take care of the basketball.
Yeah.
And I think the big thing going into the next game is I think everybody in Raptors Nation is going to look at Serge Ibaka and CJ Miles. What did they do? I don't care about Game 6 right now. I will after the game tomorrow. If they win, I'll be like, okay, great job. Now we focus on that stupid road game.
Right.
But before then, we all look at Serge Ibaka, CJ Miles. If they can come out tomorrow and they can prove that they've got it.
I think mainly CJ Miles, because like you said, that 3-point specialist is what you need on this team.
Well, you look at Mike Scott on them. He was a freak out there.
Yeah, I know.
And Wayne Ellington on the Miami Heat against the Raptors in the last game of the regular season. He had 30-something, and he was a ridiculous number from 3 because he's a spot-up 3-point shooter. He is terrific from 3. We think we got that in CJ Miles. Well, he's been nowhere to be found on these road games. He's got to step it up.
Yeah,
so does Serge Ibaka, and they I sound like a broken record here. Take care of the ball.
Yeah.
That's it.
And and play smart, play defensively. Don't try those big long passes because you're going to be, just. Yeah,
because you go to Game 1 here, and I haven't really looked at this too much. Game 1, the Raptors. I'm going here. The Raptors did have 8. No, excuse me. This is the last game. Sorry. Game 1 on Saturday. The Raptors. I'm going to go down here. They had 13 turnovers. Again, not enough, but they had 17.
Yeah,
that was a big reason of why the Raptors win, because they got out, run the ball, run their turnovers down their throat, and just kill them with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Game 2, Raptors 14 turnovers. They had 8. But we made them pay for their turnovers, and I think we got to the free throw line a ton, 33 times, and we made 27. So that was a big one there. But then you look at game 3 and 4, 18 turnovers in both games. That's got to be cleaned up.
So the main issue, like you said, is turnovers. And that's for really any team. That's the staple, because turnovers...
The Raptors are one of the best teams in the league in not turning the ball over in the season.
I don't know if it's Washington playing scrappy, because I think they are a little bit, but you gotta... You're facing the 8th place Washington Wizards.
They're non-forced turnovers, and I think those are the ones that really get under everybody's skin.
They're just stupid passes, and they're not protecting the ball properly. But
make the smart pass. Now we're going to run through the playoffs here real quick. We're not going to talk about the Raptors.
Miami, the 6th place Heat versus the 3rd place Philadelphia 76ers.
I thought Miami would give them a better fight. It looks like...
What did we say? Did we do these predictions?
I don't think we did. I honestly don't think we did. It's 46-46 at the half in Philadelphia in Game 5 right now.
Okay. And then
but I think Philly's going to finish that off. I think they're going to do that at home. I think so. Boston 2-2
against... Meek Mill is actually out of prison. I just wanted...
There you go. Yeah. I think he's at the game, actually, or he's there or something.
Is he at the game?
I think he's around. I'm not sure exactly.
He's around.
Well, of course he is. Milwaukee and Boston tied to a piece.
Boston was up 2-0.
Exactly the same situation as the Raptors. They won both at home, lost both on the road.
But the gap between Milwaukee and the Wizards, I think, is a big... Like, when it comes to skill, you know what I mean? Like...
I don't know. I mean, Giannis Antetokounmpo, in my eyes, is better than Bradley Beal and John Wall. Not combined, obviously, but that guy's a freak. He's the Greek freak for a reason.
Yeah.
They have Eric Bledsoe. They have all these guys that can catch fire, but can they? Eric Bledsoe, Malcolm Brogdon, if they get hot. But they haven't really.
Kyrie Irving list, Boston Celtics, right?
Right, there's that. So, and then you go to Indiana and Cleveland, tied to a piece, and I don't know what the heck's going to happen. That's been a back-and-forth series. Both teams have won one, lost one on the road.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a very interesting down the stretch, but you can't count out playoff LeBron. You never really know, but he has been playing a ton of minutes, and he looks tired now. I mean, he's still doing amazing.
Too much, but is that necessarily a good thing for your team? I thought that they acquired these guys in the trade deadline to maybe take the workload off of LeBron, seeing that
it looks like he's having to do more. It looks like he's having to do more out there, and it's kind of crazy.
And what did I say about San Antonio?
Yeah, you said they were going to win a game. I didn't believe you. They were down 3-0, and I'm like, well, they're just going to get knocked out.
Oh, and our condolences to Greg Popovich's wife.
His wife. That's
passed
awful.
away, and he's actually considering retirement.
I don't blame him, man. You just went through a tough time.
He's been with them for about close to 15 years.
He's been there a long time.
Great coach.
And they're kind of in a transition year where they're not the greatest team they were anymore. I think they need to go into a transition stage. Kawhi Leonard doesn't even know. We don't even know if he's going back to them next year.
Jonathan Simmons, a great bench player for them, too. So.
Yeah, I think it's Orlando out of all teams.
Yeah.
But that was that.
And
then the New Orleans Pelicans sweeping the Portland Trailblazers.
Me and you both thought that they were going to split going back to Portland.
But that didn't happen.
No.
Anthony Davis, Drew Holiday, Mirotic of Raptor Killer on Chicago. This was without Boogie.
And I kind of want to get into that. The New Orleans Pelicans are not, I repeat, not offering Boogie a max contract.
That's what I heard. That's ridiculous. They're going to go short term on just under. And I'm like, that's interesting.
Because they see what they are without him, and they're playing good. And with him, they were playing good, but not like they are now.
No.
So you can kind of see, but Boogie is deserved max money 100%. But are they willing to give it to a guy who may break their team
chemistry now? Because I think they were red hot going into the playoffs. I can't check them out right here.
But I know how I feel. So I don't think that's a bad move by New Orleans.
They won 5 straight going into the playoffs, and then they've won 9 straight going back to the regular season.
But Boogie's going to want max, especially from a small market team like the Pelicans.
Yeah. Yep. And then you go to the Utah and Oklahoma City series, and you know what? I thought this. I think we talked about this, and I said Utah was going to kind of. I didn't know it was going to be this bad, but I had a feeling they were going to come up with the series win. They're right now up 3-1 on Oklahoma City.
I had OKC actually going to the Western Conference Finals.
Carmelo doesn't have it. I mean, you look what Utah has done. You look at Joe Ingles.
I was just going to say that. Yeah. Who is this guy?
He's a spot-up 3-point shooter, and he's working. Not what CJ Miles is doing. Joe Ingles has been great. Jonathan Mitchell has been terrific. There's the Rookie of the Year conversation, obviously, with Donovan Mitchell, who I think he becomes one of the youngest, or one of the first rookie in like a long time to get over 30 points in a playoff game.
So the Nuggets drafted him. I'm wondering what the trade was to get him to Utah. I don't know what it was, but I think
Jokic? No,
Jokic is still on Denver.
Oh yeah, I don't know what.
I mean, maybe they just swapped rookies or something like that. I don't
We'd
know.
have to look that kind of stuff up. But
but what a terrible trade.
It's going back to Oklahoma City for Game 5.
They have more fight. I think they're going to take the Utah Jazz, and you could even see the OKC Thunder winning this series, and I still think they could.
It's going to be tough.
Westbrook is going to be on another level, and I keep saying this, and I keep pounding my
fist. But is Westbrook the guy? Is he like a LeBron James that can carry a team?
But they don't necessarily need to. They have the big three and Paul George and Melo.
What has Melo done? Clearly, it hasn't worked so far.
Well, Paul George has looked great.
Okay.
Right? And then you always have Steven Adams taking those defensive rebounds.
Clearly it's not working right now.
No, I know it's not working, but they're against the ropes, and maybe that's what they needed to be, right?
We're going to have to wait and see. Then you go to the Houston Rockets, who are up 3-1 on the Minnesota Timberwolves right now. And yesterday, was it yesterday's game?
I said that they were, they were down by 40. Yeah, I saw that.
Well, no, it wasn't. Well, the funny thing is, at that point...
and then they came back. I know, I know.
It was a tight game at the half.
And then
James Harden outscores the Minnesota Timberwolves 22-20 alone in the third quarter. Houston scores 50 in the third. Raptor fans losing their mind after a 40-point third quarter against the Wizards in the last game. Houston scores a 50-point quarter.
But this is what a young Timberwolves team needs.
They get barely in the playoffs and they get smashed.
Every team goes through this. Going back to hockey, the Leafs.
New Jersey
Devils, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is trust the process, as the 76ers would say. This is the process. Any dynasty loses, a young dynasty team loses in the first round against a team like Houston who wants to win now, and I don't blame them.
No, I don't either. They've been great. They've been terrific.
I know it sucks for Minnesota in the short term, but in the long run, it looks good on you. And I'm not just saying that to hate on Minnesota. It does look good on you in the long run. It does.
They've showed fight. They have some great young players. They've had some things work. And I going back, I totally forgot to talk about it. In that Utah series, Ricky Rubio has been great.
He flops a whole lot. I don't know if you saw that, but
whether he does or not, he's a great player for them. He has worked very well.
I'm never a fan of him, but yeah.
Well, he's worked well with Utah. I mean, you see the camaraderie between that team right now.
Well, he finally is living up to the 5th overall pick. He was drafted in, 2011, 2012, something like that.
Yeah, he was a top-notch pick and really didn't have a great three-point shot, and he was ridiculously good, I think, last night.
Oh,
so
they picked 2 point guards. No, that was in the Steph Curry draft. I think that was 2009. They picked him and Johnny Flynn.
Yeah, where's Johnny Flynn?
China.
There you
over Steph Curry. Back-to-back picks, and Steph went 7th or something like that.
I bet Minnesota fans say every time that gets brought up, they tell them to be quiet because it just hurts their ears.
Every team hurts that. But
hey, I think we'll quickly talk about the Raptors for a few more minutes before we head into baseball here.
And then questions.
Look, the Raptors play tomorrow, 7:00 tip-off at the ACC.
Yeah,
there's going to be tension in the building just because of the way those road games went.
Right,
but there's going to be fire.
Yes.
And I think this team needs to come out of the gate guns a-blazing.
And I want to talk about something quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
I kind of want to go on a little bit of rant here. So, New York Knicks.
Okay, so no more Raptors. We're going right to the Knicks here real quick. Yeah, Knicks in the playoffs talk right now. Evan Brown, take her away, because I know you got a little rant to go. Go ahead.
I got a little rant to talk about. So the New York Knicks, the mecca of basketball, of the NBA, is considering bringing back one of their old coaches. Now, which coach could this be? Is it Derek Fisher? Oh, no, it's not Derek Fisher. Is it, I don't even know who else coached the Knicks. I know it's just Derek Fisher. No! It's Mike Woodson. The New York Knicks have announced they are considering bringing back probably, if not one of the most incompetent coaches in basketball. Now, I'm just looking at his record right now with the New York Knicks. He spent 3 seasons there, over a 500 record. But if you look back at that team, yes, they were on the downfall. I understand that. He had no communication with his players. He looked lost as hell out there. He set his team back with Phil Jackson 4 years. I honestly have no idea what the New York... It's always... I'm a Raptor fan, but if I had to pick my second team, it would be the Knicks. James knows this.
Yeah.
But it's always something with this team. It's always something with the New York Knicks. Kristaps Porzingis is probably going to miss the whole next season. Oh, great. Emmanuel Mudiay, is he going to step up? Probably not. It's always attitude issues. It's always something with this team. I don't know what they see in Mike Woodson. I remember we were going off him a few years back. He's he just sits there. He just sits there.
He's the total opposite of Stan Van Gundy of the Pistons. That guy's always up yelling at referees, yelling at everybody.
And he's a complainer. He doesn't have no communication with his team at all. And this is when they had Amari Stoudemire. Yes, at the decline of his career, I understand that. But Tim Hardaway before he went to the Hawks.
Yep.
Carmelo Anthony. And it's just mind-blowing that they already have Jeff Hornacek, which isn't a good coach at all. Yes, I understand that. But look at... I don't know, maybe a college coach that's doing well. You know what I mean? Somebody.
You look for a new face.
Why are they bringing back somebody like this, Mike Woodson, who has no?
That's like the Leafs bringing back what's his name?
Horacek, Peter Horacek.
Well, that's like
Ron Wilson.
Yeah, that's him, Ron Wilson. Like no Leaf fan wants him. The Leafs don't want him, but they bring him back, and we're all like, no, get the heck out of here.
No.
So yeah, I get that.
So that's my little rant about with the Knicks. I literally have no idea what they're doing. They were talking about, well, this was, I think, maybe before this season just is past, whatever, trading Porzingis for, he can't be built around. But I don't know. I'm just speechless. This is unbelievable what I'm hearing right now about the New York Knicks. Unbelievable.
Well, that was fun.
Unbelievable if the Knicks are bringing back Mike Woodson as a coach. Am I overreacting? No. Because you'll wonder why the Knicks fans, why are we a mediocre team? Why aren't we getting a high draft pick? Why are we doing this? Because you traded your first rounder for Jared Bargnani is one thing to us.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Thank you. He didn't play a full season. So, I don't know what they're doing out there in New York. I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, that was fun. You okay, bud? I mean, you know,
I need another Starbucks coffee right now, actually.
Jeez, well, yeah, I mean, my goodness. But that was quite fun, actually.
It was. But going back to the Raptors, because I know you had a little bit of a pee-pee break.
Yeah, well, you know, you got to do what you got to do. And
I'm going to have a water break.
Well, there you go. You were having a rant. Yeah. I thought I'd take advantage of that. But the Raptors, guys, tomorrow against the Washington Wizards, Game 5 at the Air Canada Centre. I'm not going to say it's a must-win, but for Raptor fans, we all think it's a must-win because we're like, this is a joke. These last two games, we've been furious. We've been really angry with this team over the last couple games. They got to win tomorrow. I don't care. I'm not even going to look at Game 6 right now. They win the next game? Yeah, then we'll look about it. We'll talk about what needs to get done, what they should do in Game 6.
But for now, me and you can both say it's a win. You have to win on, but it's a statement game, Game 6. Yes, Game 5, you're in your barn. Yep. You got to perform, but Game 6 is the one. You want to finish the series in 6. It shouldn't even got to 6, in my opinion. It should have been 5, or a sweep even.
I wouldn't say a sweep, probably about 5.
Yeah. But you got to finish it on their home court in Game 6.
I do not want to come back here for 7.
No, I do not.
I love our home court, but I don't even want to see it in Game 7.
Because you never know. You never know what's going to happen in Game 7. So we're going to transition
to baseball here. The Blue Jays. We got, they've been playing some all right baseball, and I lost the last 2 games to the Yankees. But, again, they're at home now, taking on the Boston Red Sox, and, hey, you know, they're back at home, and as of right now, they're up 3-2, but I just saw that the Red Sox just scored one in the 9th, so I'm not sure how close it is.
Is it Rick Porcello versus...
Oh, God, first and third, 1 out. Osuna's trying to close it out, but he's already given up a run.
Look at this.
We're getting a live kind of commentary right here.
Damn right.
1 out, 2 strikes. I mean, you guys know what's going on already. I mean, you guys, by the time you listen to this,
was it Rick Porcello yesterday?
Yep. Oh, no, today.
Rick Porcello versus Jay Happ.
The Jays had the day off yesterday.
Oh, I thought they played. Okay, all right.
And they opened up the 3-game set against the Red Sox today. Rick Porcello game 1. And, hey, you know what? The Jays have the lead right now.
And it just looked like Roberto Osuna just struck out Jackie Bradley Jr.
Yeah, so now there's 2 out. Oh my God, 2 strikes now on Christian Vasquez, second and third. Oh, it's now 1-2 count. I'm updating. I've got some OCD going on here or something like that.
He's sweating.
I'm sweating because I want this game. I mean, the Jays had the 3-0 lead early, but anyways, we're going to talk about the Blue Jays, and when the final happens, we'll talk about it.
New York's actually pitting the Twins 8-2 now, top of the 8th.
Well, the Twinkies, I mean, they're nothing special right now. No. They're having a tough time early on in the year, but I mean, so are a lot of teams, so I'm not really worried about them right now.
Yes, exactly.
But for the Blue Jays, 13-8 coming into this game. Lost their last 2. They lost 3 of 4 against the Yankees. But again, it's their first series loss of the season.
And we were playing in New York, which doesn't help.
Right. And their pitchers were great in the series. I'm not going to take anything away from the Yankees. They pitched an unbelievable series. The Jays couldn't come up with any clutch hits.
Finding his
I mean, he did a home run against the Blue Jays, but other than that, I don't think he did a whole lot in that series.
No.
He still really hasn't found his way here. But for the
What do you think of Solarte?
He's on a little bit of a slump right now. I mean, he hasn't really got it. I think he's like 0 for his last, let me see, was he 0 for today? 0 for 3, so I think he's like 0 for his last 13. So he's having a tough time. Did draw a walk today, but...
Okay.
Oh, no, that was Justin Smoke. 0 for 4 on the game, so he's 0 for his last 14.
No, I didn't really
and, I don't know.
Is there anybody, sort of kind of getting away from the Blue Jays here, is there any team that's surprising you in the league right now?
Well, I mean... It's hard to say because it's so early on. They're 12-11. They've won 3 straight. Yes, I mean they're obviously going to come back down to earth. The Philadelphia Phillies are 14-7. I think everyone's kind of shocked by their start, but they did have a good start last year and they blew it. I don't know.
Cespedes.
I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. The Mets are healthy, and that's what they needed. They need to get healthy, and they have, and they've had a really good start to the year. 5-5 in their last 10. They're kind of having a tough time there.
Right.
But look,
against the Yankees.
Going back to the Blue Jays,
right?
These last 2 series are kind of big tests for this Blue Jays team.
Yeah.
You know, you face the Yankees, you lost 3 or 4.
You're facing divisional teams.
2 of the best divisional teams you got. Yeah. Baltimore, Tampa, whatever. They're useless teams. But you're playing arguably the best team in the league in the Red Sox, who have pretty much everything when it comes to starting pitching and the bats and everything. Right. They've been on fire all season long.
Exactly.
They're 17-4. But you know what? The great thing about baseball, and it's like hockey in a sense. You know, as much as teams you think it's going to be a cakewalk right through them. You think the Leafs are going to crush the Buffalo Sabres. It doesn't happen some games. Sometimes it does.
Right.
The Boston Red Sox going into Oakland, I think they were 16-2. They're on fire. They can't stop hitting. Their pitching's been terrific.
Right.
And they lose the series. Oh, boy. So Christian Vasquez just walked. The bases are loaded with 2 out.
All right, Mr. Live Commentary there.
Hey, you know what? I'm stressed out, all right? These Blue Jays, I mean, Roberto Osuna.
I can't wait to see that hate comments on your video.
You got to calm down, all right, sir? You got to calm down a little bit there.
But
look.
This is tough. This is tough, and
if
the Blue Jays want to make a wild card spot, you have to beat these divisional teams, the 2 best divisional teams in our division. Yeah. Right? So
they split the series against the Yankees to start the season. They lost 3 or 4 against the Yankees this year, but the last series. But the only reason they lost that.
Did they face Baltimore soon, or
we already played them and we won the series. We haven't played Tampa yet. I don't even know when we play them next. I don't even know who we play after Boston. Actually, we play Texas. That would be at the Saturday afternoon game.
You were telling me. This Saturday.
This upcoming Saturday, ball 1 to Brock Holt, and the bases are loaded. Roberto, come on now. A little stressed out here.
Yeah.
But for the Blue Jays, look, this team has got to rely on their starting pitching, and J-Hap today has been great. Was terrific today.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been great to start the season. Stroman has really missed his spots. He has not looked really strong over his first outings. He hasn't had a good one yet. But the problem with him, he has 1 bad inning.
Yeah.
And when it's bad, it's bad.
And then that's just his confidence is just down.
He thinks he has. I mean, look, you go back to his last start against the Yankees there in this past series, and he was outstanding for the most part. He went 5 in the third, but through 5 innings, he only gave up 2 runs. Walked 1 guy, give up a few hits and a couple runs. He looked great and he struck out 5. But then in that 6th inning, he only got 1 out and gave up 3 or 4 more runs. Yeah. He couldn't get anything in that inning.
Well, with J-Hap playing like he is right now,
and Brock Holt singles, game's tied at 3. Oh my goodness! Roberto blew the save.
That's rare for him.
A 2-run save.
Actually, yeah, because
his first blown save of the year. Roberto.
Well, this is going to be the rare occasion.
And he gets out of the inning.
Okay, dude.
I'm stressed out here. He got out of the inning somehow.
And this is going to be the rare occurrence where we actually do film this podcast night. It's almost 10
it's not going to happen too often here. I don't want this to happen.
It's James' work schedule. It's kind of hectic.
I'm hoping to get back to normal maybe in the mid-May. I'm hoping that's when it's going to get back to normal, and Tuesday afternoons is going to be the regular time. But for the Blue Jays, look, they rely on their starting pitching.
And Sanchez has looked
He's looked all right.
It's mainly J-Hap, I think.
He's had a pretty good start. He had a great start again tonight. Whether the Jays win or lose, he's had a great start.
Well, Roberto Osuna,
he blew the save today. His first one, but the first run's given up of the year. There's been a lot of surprises.
Estrada's looked against same thing like Sanchez.
He hasn't looked great.
So it's mainly just J-Hap.
Yeah, we talk about how the Jays have off to a good start and the starters have been okay.
Contract, he should be performing.
Tell me about it. But this team, you know what? It's so early to tell. They're just over 20 games into the season.
Yeah.
You can't really speculate in saying where this team's going to be after game 162. It's so difficult to tell. But for the Blue Jays, they just got to find a way to grind out games, grind out victories, and
when they count.
Come up with their clutch hits. They've done that all season long. They struggled against the Yankees with clutch hits, but that was the only time. Whether they can get back to that, that's remained to be seen. This Blue Jays team has to find a way to get clutch hits down the stretch. If they can do it...
Because that's what good teams do.
The bullpen has been good. Other than Roberto Osuna tonight, the bullpen has been very solid.
Aaron Loop?
Well, that's the only problem. The lefty reliever is something that I have harped on the last couple of years. Since Brett Cecil left, I have been like, okay, they need you after somebody. They haven't, because it's hard to find a good lefty reliever. Jaime Garcia's had a rough start. He had a good. I think he had good 1 or 2 starts to start the year, but then in the last few, he hasn't looked great. Again, I don't know. This team is in a weird situation right now where they're playing well, they're getting wins. But starting pitching hasn't been the greatest.
But are you happy with the wins they're getting? Yes, because they're wins, but then you look at the wins, it's like...
You know what? You got to find a way to win. And the Jays have found ways to win games, and, hey, I'm not complaining. Yeah. But they got to find a way to keep it up. Will they? I don't know. Great news for the Blue Jays. Josh Donaldson is probably going to be rehabbing starting this week, actually.
Now we just need Morales. Jokes. No, we don't need Morales.
He's actually back. He's already back. He's been back for a few games now. And
how's the glasses situation going?
Well, you know what? To be totally honest, actually, he's a pinch hitter in this game. Actually, right now, he's actually hitting. Oh, he's only hitting .235. He's got 1 home run.
How about Teoscar Hernandez? What do you think?
He's been great. He's been terrific for the. He's 0 for 3 today.
The youngster,
but he's hitting .316. I mean,
he's one of the guys that was brought up from
AAA Buffalo. Yeah, and the funny thing is, we'll go back to how we acquired him.
Well, I think you already mentioned that about was this last year? We acquired him?
Yeah, Francisco Lariano.
Yeah, Lariano.
I don't know how we got Teoscar Hernandez from Francisco Lariano.
Curtis Granderson, sorry to interrupt you, but Curtis Granderson getting a grand slam.
That was nuts. That was insane. That was against the Kansas City Royals, getting that sweep on that Facebook Live. That was a very weird...
What was going on there?
It wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad live stream, but it just felt weird. Not having the main guys talk and...
It wasn't just Martinez and...
No, it was MLB.com, MLB TV guys. It was weird.
And this wasn't a makeup game at all. Very weird.
Nope. And
some broadcasting.
You talked about Curtis Granderson. He's 2 for 4 again with 2 RBIs today. Obviously, those were the 2 main RBIs in the game for the Jays.
Yeah, so he's looked good. But the main issue and what everybody is harping on right now, Blue Jay fans, is Randall Grichuk.
He didn't get the start today, and rightfully so. He has not looked good. To start the year.
Last podcast we talked about he's finding his own a little bit,
well,
but
he played a good game or two, and he's like you just said, he's really struggled as of late. Yeah. He has not looked good, striking out a ton. I don't know his exact numbers when it comes to strikeouts this season. It's too many. No matter what it is, I know he has way too many strikeouts.
Would you sit him if he continues this?
So 23 strikeouts in 20 games, not good. But then we look at Justin Smoke, and he's got, does he have a strikeout today? Because I know he had 24 coming. Justin Smoke had 24 strikeouts coming into the game today. He's 0 for 3. He's got 2 strikeouts.
I think it's because it's Justin Smoke comparing to a guy we just traded for.
Right.
So there you go. Would you consider sitting Grichuk completely if he's still?
You got to find a way to get him going. I mean, the only way to get a guy going is to play him. Yeah. How else are you gonna?
Or you're gonna see him. Yeah, no, it's true. Or you're gonna see him absolutely falter even more. So I don't know.
I'm hoping it's not gonna be like a Drew Storen situation back in 2016.
Where we traded
Ben Revere, and we're thinking this guy's gonna be our 8th inning guy. He's gonna be a lockdown guy. He was awful, and they traded him for Joaquin Benoit early in the year. And that was all. I mean, Benoit was great, but. That's just what it was, and I'm hoping this doesn't turn out to be a situation like that. His confidence is through the drain right now. I don't know what it's going to be like come mid-May, come June. I don't know what it's going to be like.
But if this team's playing well, his confidence has to go up. I could see if the Jays laid an egg, then okay.
Yeah.
But if your team's playing well and you're still having difficulty and you're playing, there's something wrong. Yeah. There's something wrong. But he proved on St. Louis that he's a, you know what I mean?
He's a power hitter, but he strikes out a lot. But he's still got to be able to get some singles here and there, and he really hasn't done that with the Blue Jays this year.
So, I don't know. It's early, but with him, I've not been impressed because we're giving him the benefit of the doubt, and we have.
We're trying. Me and you are trying.
But now it's getting to the point where
we're almost at the end of April here, and he still hasn't done anything.
And if he were to,
and all the other guys that were struggling with him, Devin Travis, Russell Martin. Martin's 1 for 4 today. Travis is 0 for 3, but at least their averages are over 100. His is not even there. He's at .8 something. he's had a rough time. But for the Blue Jays, I mean, it's not over yet right now. It's 3-3 against the Boston Red Sox. They're in the bottom of the ninth with 2 out, nobody on. The Blue Jays, I don't know. If they can find a way to win that, great. It'll be in walk-off fashion, and won't that be a fun thing to do? But there's really not much else to talk about when it comes to the Blue Jays. I mean, it's so early on in the season. It's so hard to tell. But let's be optimistic. We expected this team to be a down-to-garbage team and nothing really going on. They're 13-8 to start the year. It's great. You're playing one of the top teams in the league, if not the top team in the league.
And there's, again, another week, there's not too much because you already do have your game reviews. No trades happen. No call-ups besides...
okay, so I know it's just a meaningless update right now, but Kevin Pillar just doubled, so a guy at second for Aledmus Diaz with 2 out in the bottom of the ninth. Jay's looking to walk that game off. Hey, if you guys are listening to this, you guys will probably have already seen the video.
Hardcore Jays fans on the channel probably know what's going on here. So
that's gonna wrap this baby up.
Questions.
Oh,
questions.
My goodness, I totally forgot about that. You said we have actually quite a few questions.
Here. Would you like Brooke?
Brooke on Twitter. Thoughts on Yngiever Solarte? Like we said earlier, he's been struggling as of late. You know, he hasn't looked the greatest, but what he does bring, he's a great defender. He's versatile in the infield. He's got the great energy. Okay. He gives you that energy, and when he does hit a home run, I love it because he just drops his bat and it's just he pimps it a little bit. I love it.
Okay, that's next question. Good old Stephen W.
Steven, you're always on here, bud. What's going on?
I love it. Okay, so what needs to improve for the Raptors in the playoffs besides turnovers?
Okay.
Are you worried about Fred VanVleet's injury, and will the Raptors get out of the first round? Thoughts on the Pelicans beating Portland in other playoff rounds? Well, we kind of talked about other playoff rounds and the whole New Orleans sweeping Portland,
right?
Which was surprising. Besides,
am I nervous about Fred VanVleet? No question about it.
Yeah, because
there's no way you miss the first 4 games of the season.
Would you throw him out there? With just game 5 or game 6?
I don't know if it's not just a bruised shoulder. I don't know how bad it is. Aledmus Diaz just flied out end of the inning. God dang it! Oh well, so that's not going to walk it off there. But anyways,
yeah, so Fred VanVleet, we're because if it just wasn't a bruised shoulder, he would have been back in. So it's something more. I don't know what it is. If it's
they're trying to downplay it, but I don't know if it's. I don't know. And we need him back. We've seen it.
We are worried. I think there's another for this question.
There's no more part of that.
Besides turnovers, what the Raptors need to improve?
Keep the ball moving and no stupid ISO ball for DeMar DeRozan all the time. You can do it once in a while, but not every darn possession late in the game. Right. Stupid.
Okay. It's another question. Marcus. Will Game 5 decide the Raptors' fate this postseason?
No,
it's Game 6. Game 6 is going to be the big one.
If the Raptors,
even if we lose Game 5, if you can't win on someone else's floor, there's no point of you even getting past the first round. Game 6 is going to be the one. Yes, Game 5 a little bit.
Look, if the Raptors lose Game 5, and like you said, is Game 5 a must-win for this team? I mean,
it's not a.
You could say it is. No, it's not a game that you're saying we have to win.
We have to win Game 6.
And if they win on Game 6, they come home for Game 7, and then
if they beat us Game 5 and they beat us Game 6, it's over.
Right. So Game 5 is big. Yes. It's the end all and be all. No, but it's a big thing. It's a really big thing.
It's a Game 6 for sure. Okay, good old Stefano Grassi.
We've heard him before. Yeah, way to go, bud.
First of all, my prayers to the state of Toronto. Thank you, man. We definitely really appreciate it. Why have we changed our game plan? So why have we changed our game plan in his last 2 away games? If you play like this in the last 2 years, we know what the outcome would be. I agree with you there. So we have to believe in the system that led up to the top in the East. So basically what he's saying is that what are we not doing that we did in the regular season? What are we not doing now in the playoffs?
Taking care of the basketball.
And
this, like I said earlier,
you sound like a broken record.
I said it earlier in the video. This team in the regular season,
in road wins,
right? This team in the regular season was one of the best teams at not turning the ball over. They faltered late in the year, but it carried over into the playoffs, and you cannot let that happen. Nope. And they have done that, and being able to play on the road. Like I said earlier, we had one of the best road records in the league this season, and yet we are awful in the playoffs on the road. That's got to change.
Yeah. So it does. So turnovers and road wins, because we were a good road team during the regular season.
Yep.
So last and final question. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it is quite a long one. But at Yo Mama's Coins, thank you for sending this long question, because this is a little bit of a discussion we're having right now.
Yep.
Basically, he's saying ever since the Jays won the two World Series back to back in the '90s, the refs and the media have been scrutinized.
Umpires.
And the umpires, yes, have been a little bit towards the Raptors and the Blue Jays. Not so much hockey because there's other Canadian teams, right? So, is it basically he's saying, is it a conspiracy theory? Is it because the American media won't make as much money if you do see another Toronto team in the finals? Because no Toronto team has been in the. I should say none of the major Toronto market teams have been in the finals since the Blue Jays.
In 93.
In 93, 94.
93. Just the 1 year, 93. Because it's in the summer, it doesn't change years. 1993. Okay. The Blue Jays won the World Series there.
Well, I'm saying back to back.
Well, it's 92, 93.
Yeah, okay.
But the crazy thing is about that, I used to think that, but then I watched some other games and I'm like, the refs are awful. I mean, you go back to, I don't know who was facing Oklahoma City. I'm not exact. I think it was Milwaukee. Giannis Antetokounmpo stepped out of bounds on the game-winning shot. Clear as day, he stepped out of bounds. Referees were like, no, we're not even going to review it.
I think it's more of a superstar-driven league rather than a Canadian thing.
Couldn't agree more.
I think we're overlooking this too much, and I think us as Canadian sports fans kind of have to realize that we can't pull the whole card about, they're just against us because we're Canadian. That's not the case at all. It might seem like it, but I think we say that a little too much.
I agree.
A little too much. So,
is there times where we feel that way? Of course.
But that happens to every...
Exactly.
So
exactly. It's tough to say, really.
It's not a conspiracy theory in my...
That wraps up the questions, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's no more, eh?
No more. So, guys, thank you for sending your questions.
Link is down in the description, guys, for the Twitter. If you guys have any questions for next week's podcast, let us know in the description below, guys.
It's going to be Thursday.
It'll be next Thursday, yes. And it'll be the afternoon. It'll be our normal time. Just on Thursday afternoon.
Right. So, guys, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for YouTube, iTunes, whatever platform you're on. Thank you guys for tuning in, and... you will talk to them tonight.
I'll talk to you guys tonight, Jay's post-game. I don't know what's going to happen tonight. It's tied 3-3 right now in the 10th against the Red Sox. Who knows what's going to happen?
Game 7 tomorrow.
Oh, baby. You and I, we'll be together for Game 7, I guess, and Game 5 for the Raptors.
And you may see a little bit of a video or celebration on the channel.
We'll have to see.
If the Leafs do pull it off, Game 5 Raptors... We know we can do it. Game 5, it's Game 6, which we already talked about. But
you got to take care of business at home. You got to do your thing at home.
I don't know what's going to happen with the whole Raptor or Jurassic Park Square.
Well, we're going to have to wait and see tomorrow. They'll probably let us know what's going on. We'll probably be able to see it.
Exactly.
But hey, big night tomorrow for the Raptors and the Leafs. It's going to be a stressful Toronto sports night, but it's going to be a lot of fun. All right. So we'll talk to you guys. I'll talk to you guys later tonight. Evan and I will talk to you guys next Thursday, podcast edition, episode 10, double-digit podcast next week. It's going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully we'll be talking about a Leafs round 2 appearance and Raptors at that point, hopefully round 2 appearance. All right, so we'll talk to you guys then.
Peace.